Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. It's been 31 years since the 49ers won in Minnesota. Will the streak continue tonight?
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. My rabbits pick the games. When they're right, they grow bigger. I am growing concerned about this.
Hey, this is Arif Hassan from the Wide Left Substack here in Vegas to tell you that sports gambling is bad, but slots are good.
Plenty of Vikings 49ers talk, and I think we're going to get some stories from Arif on today's Minnesota football party.
Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. It's time for the Minnesota football party.
What's up, everybody? It's a Monday. It is a game day on the Minnesota football party on Locked On Sports Minnesota. We appreciate you watching on YouTube, the Locked On Sports Minnesota channel, and listening on the Locked On Vikings feed, wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Tell your friends all about us. You met Luke Braun. You met Arif Hassan. Luke Inman joins the show in progress. We're going to talk Vikings 49ers today, of course. Who will steal the headlines in tonight's primetime showdown? Will Dalton Risner, Wally Pipp, Ezra Cleveland? What did we watch in the NFL yesterday? There were a lot of great games, and of course, we're going to have our Monday nerdy stats of the day and even some party fouls before the show is done. And the show is brought to you by FanDuel, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more right now. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. And we will get started with the show, and we will go right to Luke Braun. We have a Vikings game in, as we record this, 8.5 hours. Who is going to be the player that steals the headlines? Who's going to be the primetime performer on either side that we're going to be talking about when this game is done?
In a good way or a bad way?
Hey, that is up to you, my friend.
Let's see.
Justin Jefferson, duh.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson.
Bad news for you.
This is going to be
Trent Williams.
I think either way, we'll be talking about Jordan Addison. Either in that he stepped up, took the show, took the reins of the offense without Justin Jefferson, or that he got bullied by a couple of big corners.
I think we're going to be having, and by the way, good answer. I think we're going to be having the same conversation we've had after a couple games where we'll say, man, this blitz is fun, but Vikings got caught in it a lot. We're going to be praising Brock Purdy. We're going to be saying that guy is not a system quarterback. He's pretty good, and he's pretty good under pressure, which he has been statistically in his 2 years in the league. I am looking forward tremendously to seeing what Ivan Pace can do against Christian McCaffrey, presuming that McCaffrey plays, presuming that he's put out into pass routes, presuming that Ivan Pace is tasked with following him occasionally or tackling him in the open field. I want to see what Ivan Pace can do against the best. So I think he will be a headline in this game defensively against a team that I still worry about San Francisco putting up a lot of points in this game. I don't think that they are doomed whatsoever with a 75% McCaffrey, no Debo, no Trent Williams. I think they're still going to be really good. Arif, what do you think?
I think, obviously we're going to be talking about Brock Purdy. He could put up 70 points and I'd still have doubts. That's just who I am. But I should point out,
did he go to NDSU?
No.
Why do you have doubts? No.
Is it just that there were annoying 49ers fans now and this is a spite thing?
Well, that helps for sure, 100%.
Can he not throw to his left?
No, he can throw to his left. He can't necessarily throw very far, although he is getting better at that every game. No, I mean, he is a system quarterback. That's it. The issue, of course, is that when you criticize a quarterback who is at the top of, like, let's say EPA charts or whatever, is one of the most productive quarterbacks in the NFL, and you say, he's not that good. He's mostly pretty good. He's not very good. He's not elite.
Pretty good. Arif.
Okay, that's enough, Sam. People will interpret.
Calm down.
Yeah, calm down, Sam. People will interpret that as you hating him, right? I'm not in the Stephen Ruiz camp of like ranking him 24th among all quarterbacks, but he certainly is not a top 10 or probably even top 12 quarterback to me. And so that means, of course, that I hate him and that people get mad at me when I point this out. I will say, though, Sam, against the blitz, he ranks 24th in PFF grade. I don't know what you're talking about. Now, against pressure, he does all right.
Okay, but
Yeah,
you're right. You can rank it different ways, but passer rating, I believe he's top 5.
Yeah, well, so it turns out he's had 4 dropped interceptions on blitzes, right? So that's like a big part of it is that he's got very few big-time throws against the blitz. He's got a very low depth of target against the blitz, and he has a very high turnover-worthy play rate against the blitz. And to me, that signals more in terms of what his capacity to do damage is than what his NFL passer rating has been, which overrates completion percentage, something that he tends to have a very high number in because of his relatively low depth of target. So there is that, right? I mean, he does pretty well under pressure, but whether or not there is pressure, a blitz tends to confuse because he's a pre-snap diagnosis quarterback, and he's very good at that.
Yeah, that's the key of it. Is when he sees, you could see it in the Giants game when the Giants, because they blitzed more than the Vikings have blitzed any game all year, which is insane. They blitzed 85% of the time.
85%. Yeah, crazy.
And whenever they would line up on the line of scrimmage like that, they would the 49ers would have some kind of quick game, some kind of slant flat, some kind of stick, like something really quick where he could, 3-step drop, get the ball out. And it was there all day long, and they moved the ball up and down the field on the Giants. But this is why I don't know if Flores does bring it as often as the Giants did. I think it is good to blitz Purdy. On the whole, he's worse against the blitz than not, which is not true of all quarterbacks. But lining it up and simming it and then backing off into like one of those insane Tampa 2 invert looks that Brian Flores does kind of feels like it can get him. Because what Purdy likes to do when that first thing isn't there is move around and then wing something off platform. And the accuracy of those is just never going to be very consistent unless you're specifically Aaron Rodgers. And that might not have even been true about him anymore if he were still healthy. And that is what can cause some of those interceptable passes where he does not want to set his feet. And he does not want to just like take the outlet and live to fight another day. He wants to go like find the hero ball play. And I think that maybe you can lure him into doing something stupid if you just make sure that his pre-snap look is not accurate.
He's very much a guy that loves hero ball, and we just did not see a ton of it in his rookie year until the final couple of games of the season.
Yeah.
And then throughout the postseason.
And he has found some hero ball. Like, he can do that. You are risking that he will run around and find some insane play on you. And you're like, oh my God, this kid looks like Mahomes. But
yeah, well, the second
I don't know
half
how
of
much he can
Dallas
do
game
that.
was full of it. Yeah.
Like on the aggregate, how consistently he can do that.
Yeah. And the thing is, he wasn't punished for his mistakes in those moments when he was engaging hero ball. A lot of turnover-worthy plays that were not turned into turnovers. A lot of inaccurate passes that happened on second down instead of third down. When those plays turn into chaos, he looks a lot like his Iowa State self, and he just doesn't get punished for it. So statistically, it looks like he's a very good quarterback out of pocket. But generally speaking, he puts the ball in danger a lot. His arm strength just isn't up there with, people like, Josh Allen, where when he makes these like crossbody throws, he's either lucky that this guy is just enormously open or he gets away with it. I don't know how long that's going to last, but it's just one of those things where, I don't want to take away from the fact that in structure, Purdy has been a very effective and capable quarterback, and that's something you have to watch out for. But because the Vikings kind of excel in creating chaos, and they're very good at stopping those screens and slants that you're talking about, Luke, much better than the Giants are, there is an opportunity here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And the like bubble screen stuff or like a little spear screen or whatever is one of their favorite things to do. And every time I saw them do that, I'm like, yeah, we got that.
Yeah. I mean, the Vikings have just been sensational at stopping those things.
Like the priority 1A for Flores was let's not get our blitzes beat by this crap, because it's kind of the first page in the book.
Yeah. And because they don't press on blitzes, you don't often see, deep shots, right? Because a lot of times on blitzes when there's one step deep throw shots, it occurs against press coverage where the guy just gets beat. And so we know that receiver is just going to be open from the get-go. And that just doesn't happen as often with the Vikings because of how often they play off coverage. So there are opportunities here. San Francisco is a better team. Let's not get it twisted when we break it down like this. But there are huge opportunities here, especially without Deebo Samuel, and especially with it sounds like Christian McCaffrey is going to play, but it sounds like the limited role that McCaffrey could potentially play, or just like in last week's game, he could be taken out partway through the game as the injury could potentially be nagging, right? And so when those concerns kind of rear up, and they are a very skilled player-dependent team, it is possible for the Vikings to have an opportunity here. 49ers, still one of the best teams in the league, still in the running for the best team in the NFC. Not taking that away, just saying the opportunities are actually pretty there for the Vikings, given the clash of styles, basically, right? Styles make fights. The clash of styles that are present here.
Yeah, by the numbers, and I think that there's some validity to Purdy taking more chances this year. But last year he was incredibly turnover averse. He was not getting lucky under pressure. He was like 4th best in turnover worthy play rate. And by that, I mean he was very worthy play averse. And then this year, yeah, he's marginally worse than Cousins and Allen and some other pretty good quarterbacks, but he's also got a pretty high big time throw rate under pressure too. So I'm not sure that he's been skating by. He's got 4 turnover worthy plays this year. It's a pretty small sample size. Now, with Trent Williams doubtful, who is the backup left tackle for San Francisco? Is that Jalen Moore, Western Michigan product?
Yeah, 5th round pick, Jalen Moore. He drafted in 2021. No, he hasn't played a ton this year. He's only played about 20 odd snaps, but he has played about 150 plus snaps the prior 2 years. And he has been all right. I think he's better than most backup tackles, given the information that we have, given the number of snaps that he's played. But that doesn't tell us a lot, right? We know that backup tackles in the NFL are pretty weak, right? So, for example, if you put Vidarian Lowe in his position, who is now starting with the Patriots, it
wasn't supposed to go like this, Bill. He wasn't ready. What are you doing?
He wasn't ready. I think you'd be in a much worse position than putting in something like a Jalen Moore. But I do think that's an area of potential weakness. Now, I wouldn't necessarily line up Danielle Hunter there. I like the idea of lining up Danielle Hunter on the right side just to draw that kind of attention and create some opportunities, maybe some unblocked plays for DJ Wonnum. I don't know. But, any opportunity you have to put DJ Wonnum in an unfairly advantageous position, you got to take him.
Yeah, get production out of him. And one thing that I noticed about the 49ers when I was watching, especially against the Giants, who did a lot of the same stunting stuff that Brian Flores does, some of the same stunts even, they're really good at passing off. Now, they had Trent Williams in that game, so, we'll see if maybe that all falls apart without the left tackle. But they have... they're really, really, really good at like passing off a crasher and then staying home, picking up a looper. Like you're not just going to get them. I mean, you could get that against the Bears. You could run one little stunt and their left guard literally just fell down. Like didn't even get tripped, just fell down. You're not going to get that in this game. You're going to have to win some one-on-ones, I think.
One little stunt and the Bears got scared. Sorry.
Speaking of offensive line play, Dalton Risner starting left guard for the Vikings in place of Ezra Cleveland. Now, I don't think Ezra is on the brink of getting benched. In fact, he's been quite good this season. Mm-hmm. But if Dalton Risner plays really well, do they find a way to keep him in this lineup, especially if Ed Ingram, by contrast, is bad? Because that's where we've been eyeballing Dalton Risner to play all season. So could this be his in to be a fixture in this offensive line, Arif?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the whole, one of the reasons that you wouldn't start Dalton Risner despite paying him borderline starting money is because you're concerned about communication, about chemistry, etc. And if that gets resolved, right? If it turns out he can operate as part of the line. And again, we've had some Garrett Bradbury's, a lot of Austin Schlottman, right? So it's who's he communicating with? Then I think it kind of resolves those concerns, but it is a little bit different on the right side versus the left side, not just in terms of your footwork and and technique, but also just who you're communicating with, who you're developing a chemistry with. So it seems like the Vikings value that a lot. And not having those reps on the right side might make them a little bit hesitant. Personally, I would be a little bit more aggressive about it, but I can understand if they happen to agree with the analytics firms who all suggest that the Vikings pass blocking and run blocking are just at an extremely high level right now. And why would you screw around with that if you didn't need to? Which would also maybe suggest that Austin Schlittman should continue playing center. But hey,
I think it takes like an extreme version of that result. I think like Ed Ingram would have to be worse than he has been so far, because they haven't made the decision, obviously, right? And then Risner also would have to be very good. But I do think like the next 2 games are going to drive that, I think, or for however long Cleveland is out. Like that's going to drive that more than the previous one has, because this is how guys who are having perfectly fine years lose their jobs, right? A backup comes in and goes crazy. But I think with Cleveland and Risner, because those are the guys that are free agents next year, if the Vikings are trying to be serious about a rebuild, one of these 2 guys is your left guard next year, right? You're not just going to let them both walk and then like have to spend a draft pick on it. That feels like a really weird use of assets. You got 2 guys in the building. If you're happy with, pick one of them.
Playing 40 chess, really, because if you just hold back Risner and don't let him play, then it looks to all other teams like he lost a battle against Ed Ingram. He sucks. Vikings know he's actually better. His value is depressed, and then you've got him.
That's
really
evil,
genius.
Sam. That's evil.
I mean, you could also just extend him before free agency, and then it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks.
You have to worry about that.
Yeah. Like if you want him, get him, keep him. That's fine.
Don't need
couple
to
of games
engage
now to prove
labor
himself.
suppression tactics, Sam.
As
I'm not
popular as
accusing
those
anyone
are.
of anything other than being incredibly savvy from the general manager's seat. We are going to get into our nerdy stats of the day, talk about our week 7 takeaways, and of course party fouls before the show is done. But first, Luke Braun is going to tell us about eBay Motors.
Yeah, Sam, our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Vinny Iyer, who does Locked On Fantasy Football. Every week, they've been bringing you fantasy football guaranteed fits, whether that was back in draft season or in a daily format or just scouting out the waiver wire. Here's one of those guaranteed fits this week. Next week, I guess, because we're still chilling on week 7. CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has been remarkably efficient as a fantasy player. His the reputation of his games has gone up and down over the course of his rookie year, but he's been averaging 277 yards a game, and in week 8 he's getting the Panthers. That's a pretty good matchup, and somebody who is maybe worth a buy low if you think that somebody who does own him in your league is not maybe undervaluing him. Finding those kinds of fits where they are in the schedule and where they fit in your team is what fantasy football is all about. And eBay Motors understands that it's the same thing for your car. They've got 122 million parts for your car, and you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly no matter what it needs. Brake kits, LEDs, roof rack, bumpers, cosmetic stuff, all the way to things under the hood that it really does need. And when you go for those parts, you need something that you know will fit your car or whatever's left of it in Arif's case. If you get the wrong part, it doesn't work out, right? You don't want to be in that situation, and you don't want to have to navigate the jungle of what is actually compatible with a 2009 blah blah blah. eBay Motors can get that for you, and they can help you navigate that. Just look for the green check and you know that it matches your make and your model. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Thank you, eBay Motors. Thank you, Luke Braun. We're going to jump into our nerdy stats of the day.
Analytics fans rejoice.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
It's time to get educated
Whoa, you're blowing my mind right now.
with the nerdy stat of the day.
And of course, I've turned mine into a game. My nerdy stat of the day relates to my cold open. Vikings have won 6 straight home games against San Francisco going back to 1994. Can you two collectively name the 6 starting quarterbacks for the Vikings in those 6 victories against San Francisco? Family Feud style, you get 3 strikes.
I'm sorry, I was looking at my own stat. Can you please repeat that question?
Record scratch. The Vikings have won 6 straight home games against San Francisco.
Oh,
Can
okay.
you name the 6 Vikings starting quarterbacks in those games?
So it's a collective.
As a duo, can you do this?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Correct.
Okay.
Great.
Dante
Christian
Culpepper. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Christian Ponder.
Correct.
Was
Brett
Brett Favre in a wave game? Okay. Yeah. I was going to
No, that was in the Metrodome.
Yeah. So Brett Favre.
Correct. Greg Lewis game.
Yep. Greg Lewis game. Did we play them at home in either of the Teddy years? I don't think we did.
I do not believe so.
No, because we always play the Seahawks, so it's like we only play them every 3.
Yeah, no, I'm very familiar with that. I feel like we have to. It's like 94, right? Like we have to go back. That's why I brought up Culpepper.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
But maybe there's a Cunningham in there. I don't know. That's not an answer, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for Luke.
No,
Okay.
I don't think they played San Francisco at home in '98. Well, could have been '97, but no. Oh no, '90. The only other time Cunningham played in San Francisco was '96 in a win-or-go-home game in week 16, and then guess what happened?
And that was okay. That was an away game.
Or '95 or something like that.
Okay, so what that leaves us with Kelly Holcomb style guess,
something
one of the
super weird,
Farats. Yeah,
or
so
like
maybe
a Brad
Farrat?
Johnson.
Maybe a T-Jack. Oh, a Brad Johnson. I would like. Maybe we should go for that.
Or a
I'm waiting
T-Jack?
for a consensus.
A T-Jack feels right.
T-Jack.
T-Jack.
Is that a guess? Was that a question or a guess?
No, that's
it's
a
a
guess.
guess.
T-Jack.
Oh, okay. We only got one left.
Boy.
We're fresh out, right? So
Yeah, I mean, we've got so many.
let's go with Brad Johnson then. If we don't have any clues, we might as well just Brad Johnson.
Because we get 2 different eras there. So Brad Johnson. All right.
No.
We lose.
So you only got half. I'm surprised you only got half the list. You got to go back to 2003. Farrat filling in for Dante and just lighting up the Niners. I think Moss.
I'm
had
glad
3
I at
TDs.
least mentioned Farrat offhand. That makes me feel better.
Yep. And then I don't know if you mentioned Jeff George offhand, but
Did not, but that would
1999.
have been very good, actually. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jeff George, they boat raced him. And then 1994. Do you know the quarterback of that year?
Give me a second. I
It's a Luke Braun
definitely.
Not Warren
Oh
Moon.
yeah, Warren Moon.
Okay.
No.
What was that?
Not
Warren
Warren
Moon.
Sean
thanks.
Salisbury.
Oh my god.
Oh well, he was the backup, but yeah.
He was also bad.
Didn't he? I thought he started like a one.
It was a
long
Wade
stretch.
Wilson thing where guys kept getting hurt, so he played a
Yeah.
lot of games.
It was like a quarterback per year in the 90s. It seemed like.
Yeah. It was Jim
All right.
McMahon in '93, and then Warren Moon for a couple of years, and then that was coming off of Rich
Wow.
Gannon,
Right.
and then Randall Cunningham came.
Save the franchise.
So Kirk Cousins trying to become a
Literally.
repeat quarterback on this list. Nerdy stats of the day. Arif Hassan.
So 1 over 2 to the power of 7. That's 0.07. Those are the approximate odds I had of losing every bet I made at a sports book yesterday in Vegas.
So definitive proof that it's a skill issue.
Yeah, that's what everybody here has been telling me. So I took.
Does that mean they were all minus 110? They were all like 50-50?
Basically,
Toss-ups?
I mean, they balanced out to 50-50, so I just took
Okay.
quick math on that one.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't taking money lines, I was taking spreads, so it was going to be pretty close to 50-50.
Yeah.
So then I took what was left of my money, which I didn't put it all into sports books, and I started doing something that I had much greater skill in, slots. And
Known to be a game of skill.
I hit a 1 in 10,000 shot of a mini jackpot and made all of my money back. So
Congratulations.
That's luck regression.
Yeah, that's luck regression. I was due.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Like, when you won the jackpot, the mini jackpot, did you know you won? Like, was it clear? Because sometimes the slot machines are
These slots are confusing, man.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So I played, and I'm going to be writing about this, but I played like something Buffalo. There's like 4 different Buffalo type slots. I played Buffalo Gold Revolution. And what happens is every time a Buffalo just appears, it is both a wild card and a multiplier. And so you need to have won something else in order for that to matter. And 4 Buffalo just appeared on my screen, right? Which is great. And I was like, this seems good. And then the machine starts screaming at me. It just goes, Buffalo, which is great because that's what I was screaming at it every time I spun. And in the exact same cadence. And so the 4 Buffalo went off. The little portrait, which I think is like an ace, went off. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm winning some of my slot money back. And then it just keeps going up and up and up. And I was like, this is going very slowly. This is good. I'm impatient. And then I just hit the button to see how much I had actually won. And it was almost identical to the amount of money I put into the machine plus the amount of money I gave to the sportsbook. It was incredible. And then I stopped. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, you got to leave immediately.
It feels like a win. Yeah, that feels like a huge victory when you come back like that.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, which sports book were you frequenting?
I was at William Hill.
Yeah,
I'm going to blame them. I'm not going to go back to William Hill. I'm more of an MGM Caesars guy now.
Yeah, isn't that like almost off strip, Bill Hill?
It is actually. Yeah. I'm staying off strip. Some of the best sports books are off strip. They're like Circa, for example, is supposed to be one of the best.
Right.
Downtown.
That's how they draw you off the strip. They got to be good.
Yeah.
They were not good to Arif, apparently. And you know what else wasn't good to Arif? Arif's parlay picks. Arif,
shock.
You lost on Rams -3 and Tyreek over 97.5. He
really didn't hit that?
Nope. 11 catches and did not hit it.
Damn. It's like I
Crazy.
feel like he was on it all day.
Braun.
No, I know he didn't hit that. Let me tell you about that.
I got burned by Tyson Bagent.
You are out courtesy of Tyson Bagent and the Bears, so tonight's game has no meaning for you.
I underestimated the degree to which Justin Fields is the problem in Chicago.
Yeah. Or you just don't trust Secret Bagent, man.
I don't. I still don't.
Deontay Foreman.
Yeah, I refuse to learn lessons from this.
Luke Edmonds out as well. He had Chargers +5.5 and Mostert over 12.5 receiving yards. Both failed. So he loses $100. So Arif is still coasting in the lead by a good margin. However, I
earned those.
Well, you've been coasting on minimums since you took the lead. But I've got San Francisco scoring first and losing tonight to win a lot of money because I got Ravens -3 yesterday. So we need a opening drive field goal for San Francisco. What am I hearing? Is that your refrigerator?
I think StreamYard is confusing it for dialogue and trying to mix it up.
Oh no. Yeah, I thought you were going to try to make it as your refrigerator.
Yeah, the second Arif
it sounds like it sounds like the
fridge.
cabin of an airplane, like as you're getting ready to taxi.
Yeah.
Now it's better.
Yeah.
Anyway,
StreamYard just picked it up and thought it was you talking.
Yeah, I'm glad that StreamYard has figured that I drone on like a fridge.
I'm glad that it can detect a difference between a voice and a refrigerator. AI will replace us all.
But yeah, that was my
day.
fridge. It is running. I'm not going to catch it.
I do have a nerdy stat of the day. It's Brock Purdy. It's relevant to what I was talking about before. In time to throw, where PFF divides this in 2.5 seconds, so less than or more than 2.5 seconds, his depth of target on quicker passes, less than 2.5 seconds, which isn't like drop back really fast quick game. That's basically stuff in rhythm. 5.6 average depth of target. When things go longer than that, it balloons to 12.1. He was always looking for that deep shot. Similarly, in that same split, pressure to sack percentage. So how many of his pressures actually turn into sacks? When in rhythm, 8.3. Not too bad. When longer than 2.5 seconds, over 20% of them turn into sacks. So if you can get him to hang on to the ball, if you can get that first in rhythm thing to go away by disguising the look or taking it away or just covering well, you can force him to huck up a whole bunch of big deep balls, get some sacks. That feels like it has to be the way to approach this San Francisco offense, which is tough. Hey, let's make all the offensive plays go a long time and then make our guys cover. Like, that's a difficult task. And hey, I mean, they're 5-1, right?
And a Caleb Evans, questionable to play, optimistic he'll play, opposite of Murphy tonight.
That was an oblique injury of his own, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That would be big if he could play at a high level. So yesterday I was dialed in on Red Zone. Give you some of my observations from the games yesterday. We'll hear from Arif and Luke as well. But first, a word from FanDuel. We are almost halfway through the NFL regular season. And if you've been hearing us on the show talking about our parlays, having other FanDuel fun, you want to get in the action at America's #1 sportsbook, this is the promotion to take advantage of. New customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. $200 in your account, whether you win or lose, guaranteed. If you've been thinking about joining, this is the time. The app's really easy to use, the FanDuel Sportsbook app, or you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and peruse the many options. You can bet with me on San Francisco scoring first, and you can bet with Luke Inman on the Jaguars every week. You can bet with Arif Hassan on the Jalen Hurts tush push every week, which seems to just convert every single week. It's unbelievable. FanDuel.com/lockedon. Bet the props, bet the over-unders, bet the futures. Get in the action and make every moment more. FanDuel, an official partner of the National Football League. Week 7 observations. I watched the witching hours of both windows yesterday. I love Scott Hansen. I love Red Zone so much. I want to marry NFL Red Zone. It's so good. I feel like I understand the league like 50% better than I did prior to this week because I haven't had a good opportunity to do this, to just watch every team. Colts Browns, first of all, was insane. There's so many wonky elements in that game. Two teams that I don't care about really at all. Entertaining at the highest level. Horrible coaching, horrible officiating, pretty clutch quarterback play at times, pretty awful quarterback play at times. Very entertaining. That is what it's all about. 39-38, which I thought for a minute, hey, is that a scoregami? And then I remembered, I'm pretty sure that was the score of the Dante game when Tice went for 2 against the Saints back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And I think the Vikings and Saints had that score like 20 years ago. But that was my favorite watch of the day. And I enjoyed watching the Packers and Broncos finish. I thought that was the Jordan Love implosion these last 3 weeks must have Peter Bukowski, Luke, absolutely demoralized. I'm excited for you to cross over with him this week.
It's going to be, because unless the Vikings pull out a win here, it's going to feel like two teams just spiraling. Like this feels like this upcoming Packers matchup feels like the lowest stakes a Vikings Packers game's had in a while.
Yeah, the Jordan Love game log is a thing of beauty right now. If you are a Vikings fan and you were hoping that Jordan Love was not the next great franchise quarterback in Green Bay, he's got like a season-long league low accuracy completion percentage, but 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions the last 3 games. Offense is stuck in neutral. He's not coming up big in final drives in several games this year. It's glorious if you are a Vikings supporter. What else did you guys like yesterday watching football? Arif, you're allowed to talk.
Yeah, I was about to say, am I allowed to speak? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were on the same wavelength there. No, actually, so I think that this week was, and maybe I'm biased because I made a lot of assumptions that were swiftly proven wrong, but I think this week was a lot of kind of recorrecting some narratives or shining a harsh light on the things that we thought we knew. For example, the Detroit Lions getting boat raced by the Ravens. I knew that Lamar Jackson was nuts, right? I knew that Lamar Jackson was having a great season just as a passer, in addition to being an extremely good runner, and that's fine. That didn't surprise me. But the way the Lions played, out of control, how poorly they played, some of it, including some Jameson Williams drops, may have been a little bit predictable. But I just think that like everything the Lions did, they were doing wrong, which is just not something you've been seeing from them since about this point last season.
What was your worst beat, Arif? Can you regale us with that?
I mean, there's like a lot of them, right? Like, I think that because I had the over on Dolphins Eagles, and so like,
that was a horrible beat.
Yeah, all of those uncalled penalties, especially in the fourth quarter, like the face mask that should have been like a DPI, that kills me. And it's like, I don't think the Dolphins got screwed out of a win, right? Because they didn't play well enough. But I got screwed out of an over, that's for sure.
Well, they knelt down from like what yard line were they kneeling at?
Yeah, they were kneeling within field goal range, right? Like it's just.
And would a field goal have put you over?
Yeah, because it was 50. Was 48. Yeah, so I took it at 51 and a half. It ended up going up to 52 and a half.
So you actually would. So field goal wouldn't have helped.
Yeah, it wouldn't have helped. But yeah, like I just needed like one of the 3 egregious missed calls against the Dolphins to go my way. And it just, especially because they happened in the fourth quarter, it was bad. I also had the Dolphins +3. That was obviously not in play, but I think the over on that one would have helped me out a lot.
I was Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
that just taking over a game. It's one of my favorite things in any sport is when there's just one player that decides it's my time now. This game belongs to me, and I'm going to decide who wins it. One of those games from Myles Garrett, just like the safety. How many sacks did he end up even having? Like
he participated in 2 in terms of the amount of direct contact he had, but I think he caused 2 others.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And just what an awesome game. Unfortunately, one, let's be honest, without playoff implications. Oh my God! And Deshaun Watson got like shadow benched.
Yeah, maybe.
Do we believe them?
I don't know. PJ Walker is not very good at football. It pains me to admit, but is probably better than Deshaun Watson, and they should think about that for a little bit while they debate between PJ Walker and DTR, who looked ready in the preseason, did not look ready in the regular season.
They sure have a lot of time to think about their quarterback situation.
Boy, do they.
Before they have any ability to do anything about it.
I will say that was another example of the NFL being weird because the Browns, through 6 weeks, had by far one of the best NFL defenses we'd ever seen. It was like a 2019 Patriots, 2002 Buccaneers. Like they were on pace in a lot of key metrics like EPA per play, success rate against the pass and against the run. They were phenomenal. And then a Gardner Minshew-led Colts put 38 on them.
Minshew Mania, baby.
So that was like that.
Where was that the previous week?
Michael Pittman had a couple of big boy plays in that one.
Yeah.
So did Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
Josh.
But yeah, Michael Pittman after the game was like, yeah, I don't know why I'm not a bigger part of the offense. Maybe I should be. It was like
sneaky good weapons there, especially when Jonathan Taylor is like playing and not mad at everybody. There's a good stable of weapons in Indianapolis.
They're
Also
building something, but they lost their
what-
QB.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one more point too from yesterday, the greatest perhaps replay of all time, Drake London diving headfirst over the
my
pylon.
God.
You see the Artbook Sports tweet about it?
No.
Oh, I gotta see that. I gotta see that.
It's an upside down crucifixion. Spoiler.
Oh my God.
It's so good.
Oh my God.
Graphic. But the
Oh,
amount of times
wow.
that we had to watch it too, because it was a key play. It was like, did his fingertips touch?
Did he-
the
did he-
ball
yeah.
touch the pylon? Is it a
Yeah.
fumble? And they showed it 25
Again,
times.
again.
His
Just
head
a
again.
dreadful game
Just-
grinding to an entire halt over a fingernail.
And
This
it's like-
is what John Heisman intended for sure.
And it's like, okay, I know that technically the play only happened once, but the replay is happening so often that I'm worried about this guy's neck. Like you can't keep doing that, Drake London.
And then
Thank
they
God he's
fumbled right
okay.
back through the end zone again.
Yeah.
And I actually think they got the call wrong. I thought it was a fumble. But and then they fumbled on the next play. They literally took 10 minutes to review that.
There were some.
They
there were
gave
some, like,
them the ball
wacky-
at the one, fumbled on the next play.
There were some wacky plays this week, right? Because you had like the Dolphins like fumbling kind of 3 times off a catch, but it was actually incomplete. But like the Tyreek Hill fumble through into the end zone and 2 people recovered.
3 guys
Um,
chasing after
Big
it.
week
Yeah.
for that rule.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then there's the Packers touchdown off of Jaden Reed, like, which is
Yeah.
crazy because I had the Packers at pick 'em, and I was losing my mind in the lounge, and I was not the only one. A bunch of us were celebrating how stupid that touchdown was. So yeah, but there's like a lot of them, and I think the Chargers almost had a version of that too. Like, just crazy.
Very quickly in closing, we have party fouls because I want to talk about the Gophers.
It's time to tell you who spilled their proverbial drink on the sofa. Get ready for this week's party foul.
Arif, you'll appreciate this. Braun, I don't know if you're as connected to the university. Oh, there he is.
I am not.
Look at this.
Oh, he made it just in
this.
time.
Hey,
Oh no,
guys.
where'd Arif go?
come on, what?
Sorry.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Contractors, am I right? Contractor.
Just in-
what's the deal with contractors?
Just in time for party fouls.
Dude,
Luke Hammond, you
Hold on. Just real quick. I know we're running low on time. I know I'm just jumping in here. I don't want to go way off topic and hijack this thing because I'm so late. There's 2 things I just wanted to mention. Maybe you guys have already touched on them. One, I think Daniil Hunter gets a sack tonight, passes Everson Griffin on the all-time Viking sack list.
Oh.
By the way, we'll do so in 47 less games, which is insane because he's only about to turn 29, I think. 29,
Trade him for a third and a tight end.
Trade him.
That's a
Trade
good
him
press
now.
nugget.
Trade him now. But the other thing is, I was studying San Fran this week. What blows my mind about the San Francisco team and just the roster management construction is the fact they built such a powerhouse despite the fact they literally burned 3 first-round picks on Trey Lance. They wasted the 3rd overall pick on Solomon Thomas back in, 2017. They missed on Javon Kinlaw with the top 15 pick in 2020. Those are the types of moves that are supposed to set your franchise back years and years. They traded, a handful of 2nd and 3rd and 4th round picks for a running back, which we all know on paper, that's like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So what John Lynch and
Best way
Shanahan
to
have
put it.
done to build this powerhouse, I think is just absolutely insane. You tend to forget that. But when I studied San Fran this week, that's incredible, man. They've missed on so many early picks.
Yeah.
All right, so I gotta head out real quick. So my party foul is everyone asking the Eagles, the most successful team in the world in 1-yard situations, whether they should ban the tush push. Of course, every Eagles player and coach is going to say no, and they're going to say get good, and they're right. That's my party foul. I gotta dip. Peace out. Everyone tell
Peace
Luke
out,
Simon
my
about
man.
my gambling.
Enjoy the
Unbelievable.
Vegas Strip.
Unbelievable. He's
Luke,
going to Vegas?
You missed. No,
He's
he's
in
there.
Vegas.
You missed some good Arif gambling stories.
Oh, unbelievable. I'll have to, just go back and check
Go
this
back and
episode out
podcast us.
from the
Locked
start.
on Vikings
Yep,
audio
That
feed.
was actually going to be my party foul as well. I think there's just such a huge overreaction to the league banning this thing. I think unless that play proves to be more injury prone and like a lot of guys are getting injured, I think there's no way you can ask one team or excuse me, change the rules because one team is having so much success. I think until somebody figures it out, it's here to stay.
Jalen Hurts is 48 of 54 in 1 yard to go situations the last 2 years.
Yeah.
There is one thing I wholeheartedly agree. Get good. Quit whining. Everybody else is not as good at this.
Yep.
It's the Eagles are very strong up front. Hit the weight room. But there is the health from the health and safety angle. The only point that I've heard that is compelling is on special teams, on field goal block situations, they have banned the defense from doing the same thing, from doing this sort of like pushing guys into each other. So there is precedent for being concerned about like neck injuries in this kind of deal, or like the concussion risk of it all. That is the only reason I can see being compelling for being like, no, we've actually determined that the impact here is actually like super unsafe. We can't do this anymore. But from a competitive angle, cut them, figure it out, stay low, get low.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually not even like the push part of it itself. I don't think it's
the
key. I think the Eagles are just really good at QB sneaks. I think if you took the pusher out, I think they would still be mostly as successful.
100% agree.
Agreed.
Yep. I thought that in the Vikings game, and I've watched it more, and I still think that they just clear out like the Red Sea parts.
Right.
You
just get like
ahead.
a yard of push. That's not the tight end behind Jalen Hurts.
Right.
All that guy is doing
is
hurting Jalen Hurts' neck.
No, you're totally right, Luke. Half the time, you look at the tight Goddard or whoever it is behind them, supposed to be pushing them. They're just standing there like they already converted. You don't even need them. How do you stop it then defensively? What do you do? Just stack and mug the A gap? I mean, what do you do?
Cut the
multiple
knees.
Guys? Yeah.
Cut the knees and grab turf. That's the move, is just to go down. The problem is the second it's not that, you've now put your face in the turf on a 4th and 1, and that's obviously like there's a risk to that. But I mean, stay low, and low man wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get a push. The linebackers need to get penetration. Guys need to come in off the edge, and we've stopped a couple 4th downs. You probably remember a couple from the Vikings where I think Patrick Peterson had one last year where he like came blitzing in off the edge and grabbed the runner, pulled him back. It's the same way. Yeah. Same way you approach any sneak. Definitely mug the A gaps, and everybody does that against the Eagles, but they don't stay lower than the Eagles do because the Eagles are good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're running overtime. I just wanted to take this opportunity to rip Iowa and Minnesota for their offensive display, but mainly Iowa for their comments in the postgame where Kirk Ferentz, and I'm referring to the infamous illegal fair catch signal, Cooper DeJean and his head coach,
who's a stud, by the way, who's an absolute stud corner and return
and showed
man.
that with the return. Yes. They both claimed that he was just trying to run, that he was just trying to keep his balance.
Yeah.
That his arm was waving haphazardly as he was running toward the football, and that was a natural running motion, which brought to mind Alex Rodriguez knocking the ball from the pitcher's glove and then trying to tell the umpires, I was just running. I was just running with my arms.
That's right. I remember that. That playoffs, right? World Series even?
It was game 6 of the 2003 ALCS when Boston was coming back from 3-0 down, and A-Rod, the most blatant
slap
lie.
That thing out of there.
Yeah. That came to mind. But we are overtime, and we are going to get out of here. Luke Inman, thank you for your appearance today.
Sorry for the tardiness, boys.
Honored. Now, the cameo was good. The cameo, you packed a punch in those.
You came in, kicked Arif out.
Right. Kicked the door down, Big Bird style, said, what's up? What are we doing here? I definitely, I'm not just saying this. I am actually going to go back and listen to all those good Arif Vegas gambling stories. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was good. Luke Braun, Luke Inman, thank you. I'm Sam Ekstrom. The postcast tonight with us three, joined by Ron Johnson, reacting to Vikings 49ers. Don't miss that on Locked On Sports Minnesota on YouTube and the Locked On Vikings audio feed. Thank you all for watching, and we'll talk to you tonight.